Hello guys, welcome to the day 22 of our coding challenge series, and today we are solving this particular problem, which is make array 0 by subtracting equal amounts. So in this example, in this question we are given a nums array, and in one operation you must choose a positive integer x such that x is less than or equal to the smallest non-zero element in nums. So we need to choose a positive integer in the nums array which is not 0. It's a minimum value but not equal to 0, right? So something minimum but other than 0, and then subtract this particular minimum amount that we have chosen uh, from every position from every positive element in nums array, and then return the minimum order of minimum number of operations to make every element in nums equal to 0. So, and these are the examples given, so let's understand the example 1. So we have a nums array like it's given in the example, and these are the indexes values for the nums array, and it says that basically we need to select a minimum value from the nums array which is not equal to 0, and using that minimum value we will subtract that particular minimum value through with each element of nums array until it becomes 0, right? So we need to again and again choose the minimum value with each operation. So let's understand how we will do this. Let's assume counter is equal to 0 initially. So first of all, let's say when I is 0, but in this case we need to sort the nums array so that we have the array looking like this, right? Like 0 1 3 5 5, right? Because easily we can just extract the minimum value and we don't need to search the minimum value throughout the array. So sorting will make it easier to extract the minimum value from the nums array, because we will have the minimum values at the starting positions, so that's why sorting will make it easier. So using arrays.sort, I will first of all make the array in ascending order so that we have the minimum values in the beginning, so it's easier for us to extract the minimum value. So let's assume this is i0, i1, i2, i3 and i4, right? So after we sort it, so we will use this sorted array and then do our operations. So when I is 0, we will check if the value at i0 is not equal to 0, but it's equal to 0, so we cannot make the minimum value to be 0, right? As in the question is written that the minimum value should be a non-zero element. So we will basically skip the I equal to 0 step and move to the I equal to 1 step. So when I is equal to 1, so we have the element as 1, right? This is the element, right? So we will store 1 to the minimum and then subtract 1 from each value in the nums array. So 0 will remain 0, 1 minus 1 would become 0, 3 minus 1 will become 2, 5 minus 1 will become 4, and then again 5 minus 1 is 4, right? This is the first operation that we perform, so the counter will also increment and become 1. Then when I is equal to 2, so we will use this updated array, which will be this one. So the updated array is 0 0 2 4 4, right? And I equals to 2 would be this value. So this will be the minimum value then for I equals to 2, and then we will subtract 2 from each of this, right? Minus 2 minus 2 minus 2 minus 2 minus 2. So since it's already 0, so we will not subtract from here, so zeros will remain same, and this will become 0, this will become 2, this will become 2. And next minimum would be this one from the updated, so minimum will become 2 again, and let's rub this. So minimum will become 2, and then again zeros will remain same, and 2 would become 0 and 2 would also become 0. But yeah, I'll also make this this is the second operation, this is the third operation. So with the third operation the whole nums array becomes 0, right? So we would return count, which is equals to 3, so we would return 3. Let's write the code. So first of all, I'll initialize a variable called minimum and then a counter variable, and then first of all sort the array as we discussed in the example. So I'll sort the nums array so that we have minimum values at the beginning of the array, then run a loop over it, nums.length, and then what we can do is we can check if nums at position I is not equals to 0. If it's not equal to 0, then that value will become minimum, right? Because we want a value which is minimum, but it should be not 0, right? Nums at I position would be equal to minimum then, and if it's 0 or something like that, so we will just continue and we will not execute the steps that come after it. It will continue means that it will move to the next iteration, which is I1, or if it's at I1 it moves to I2, right? And it will not execute the commands that we write after this. So else continue, and a for loop if the value is not 0. So if integer j is equal to 0, j should be lesser than nums.length j plus plus. If nums at position j is not equal to 0, then we will subtract the minimum value. Nums at j would be then equal to nums at j minus minimum, the minimum value that we got, right? And then after completing, so basically the continue will not, if it reaches this particular statement, if the value at the nums is 0, so the continue will execute and we will not execute this step, right? So the continue will mean it will just return to the next iteration I1, and the things that come after continue over here, such as this for loop, will not be executed, right? But if the value is something else than 0, so that would become the minimum value, this step would be skipped, and then this this particular loop will then execute, right? And after this for loop gets executed, that means that we have basically subtracted the minimum value from each value in the nums array. So that means that we have completed one operation, right? So we would do increment the counter, right? So we will just increment the counter, and after incrementing I'll just simply return count. So let's run this. Okay, now let's submit. Okay, perfect. We got a runtime of 3 milliseconds. I hope you guys understood the solution. If you have any questions, you can ask them in the comment section, and see you guys in the next video.